Okay, welcome back again, guys. Let me first of all thank God for the privilege that we could uh, be in progress and in continuity uh, with this program. It is not easy to start something and still stick to it the way it is, or be thankful, or be allotted. I mean, by yourself as regards to the need to see that it goes or it works. Um, Today is another beautiful day for us to kind of thank God that we are still alive with all the chaotic moments happening in the world, you know, all the traumas that are just kind of been impacting people with. The ones that we have in our homes, the one that we have in our community is not enough, but we are now, kind of affected with all kinds of psychological, effect of sorry, I have to deal with my little kid, So yeah, those traumas, you kind of don't know where trauma comes from. You don't know where your psychological, capacity will be tested or kind of being to be messed up with. But we thank God that in every circumstances, we just have to thank God, and we just have to, you know, uh, develop that or create, I mean, to ourselves, the resilience to move on, to move on, to move on. Because until Christ comes, we would be struggling with that. That's not going to be perfection until Jesus comes. So hold on, keep fighting, keep fighting it, and stand strong, in the faith. You wouldn't know when and how it's going to come. So, but you're standing strong in the faith. Will be a driving force, will be a motivational, standing point. So keep it on, all right? So welcome back again to our session of of marriage and psychology. When I came up with this, I didn't really kind of, I mean, thought of, so many things that would be coming in while we um we delve in things or talk about things or look into things or observe our relationships in our homes or in our marriages, but truly speaking, I mean, in every aspect of our life we are either affected physically or we are affected psychologically or we're affected mentally or emotionally. And all of this put together, they are all considered to be a psychological, um, you know, um, component that is either this one is kind of affecting us or the other one is affecting us. But we wouldn't know from which side or from what angle that stress is going to come from. So it's good to kind of know exactly what is going on in me or within me or around me, so that I can take a very good um, I mean, pay attention to that, or see what I can do to help myself get out of that stressful moment. And so, yeah, last week I said, let's look at this, aspects of our life that, of our marriage, that in everything, but not like Sigmund Freud would say that every, psychological, stress need to be traced back to our sexual or our sex, drive. Not that one, but I just want to say that yes, you know, in marriage, you find out so many things that kind of have some break or kind of have some, um, you know, trouble working or dysfunctionality. You would sometimes, kind of out of, I mean, I would say, um, on a scale of 10, you would say like from 1 to 8, it's you kind of have some kind of link uh, to our sexual life or our, sex, kind of relationship. So that's why I said earlier that we would be kind of once in a while kind of be checking and see what is going on. So that's why today I want to talk about something that I've said this I think quite number of years ago, that because I was reading a book and I kind of somehow stumbled on that years ago. I never thought that today I would be talking about something like that. Benefit of sex. You know, the benefit of sex. Why? What is the importance of sex? Because I know we talked about sex in marriage. And we how it affects our mental and our emotional, and of course, but now we want to look at does sex have any mental, emotional, psychological, or physical effects, in our marriage, so to say, and of course, on our life. Does really, sex have any or has any kind of uh, uh, benefit, any benefit, any important, what significance can we really, or is it just something that people is just for pleasure sake? I think the answer cannot be far from saying no. It's not just for pleasure sake, but it has a lot to do with the quality of our life. It has a lot to do with the quality of our relationship. And that's why I kind of look at it. I said the benefit of sex in marriage, as it affects every aspect of our marital health and the quality of our relationship. Sex is meant to be outside, is not, sorry, sex is not meant to be outside marriage. And when entered into the institution, it should not be taken lightly or in an unhealthy manner. Our attitude towards our sexuality could, at the same time, jeopardize the quality of our relationship in marriage. So, in essence, as someone will put it, because today I'm going to be probably looking at some of uh, this from the scholarly perspective, what they think or what they say about it. But one of the scholars says, or one of the sexologists said that, listen, it is not how often, it's not the consistency, or it's not the how often the sex, but it is how productive and how, I mean, what the quality, and at the same time how healthy is our sexual life in our relationship, that matters. Because some people would think, would just focus on, are you doing it every day, which is not bad, but is it okay for some people, having it every day? For people, it is not. For some people, they can have it every day, but not really, benefiting anything. Not benefiting the body, not benefiting the soul, not benefiting the mind. So that's some of the things that you would want to kind of want to pay attention to. So, and that's why today there are someone walking, and in fact, not one person, many people came up. There are people who came up with 23 benefits of sex. But I'm going to just kind of reduce it to the 10 benefits of sex. Because why the sex? And that's why it's not supposed to be outside marriage, because it's not doing it outside marriage. It's not in any way producing or is not, yeah, is not producing the 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 result that is, that is supposed to, because it is not, benefiting, only it's kind of messing up with other people's mind and mindset, so to say, or believe, so it abused the, I mean yeah, it abuses some belief as regards to what sex is all about, when it's not done, in the rightful way. So, why sex? Because it's a word that when you hear it, one thing with one thing that really bothers me a lot is when you mention this word in some kind of culture, they hear it and they see it more as a taboo, or as, but our truth, we found out some of those cultures are the ones that they are more into it, but why they're into it is what they don't know about, because it's more like it's a lifestyle. It's just like part of the, you know, the living part of just more like living like animals. Um, they don't put any consideration as regards to why is it there? Why is it there? And I know, apart from Genesis, when God said, after He created man and a woman, and of course, the Bible said, well, they were naked. They were naked. But now, I mean, outside that, probably Pastor said, I mean, my friend would, they are the ones that have gone into deeper Hebrew syntax, Hebrew whatever, or Greek whatever. I mean, then they can come up with whatever they want to come up, kind of help us, in that aspect. But when the Bible says, and they were naked, all right, they were naked. Now already there was a permission. They were permitted, because the reason for marriage, it wasn't for number one. Number one wasn't even the sex, wasn't to reproduce, wasn't, but number one is for companionship, to come together. That's why, man was by himself. And God saw that no, he was lonely. He was kind of he felt abandoned, probably seeing, some of these creatures playing, with one another, or with each other, so to say. But God had decided to bring someone who would now comfort, who will be a companion, who will be, then what next? The next thing is, normally when there's intimacy, when there's that closeness, with opposite. So definitely you should know that psychologically, or even um, um, it's going to be, it's going to just happen organically, to kind of know about each other, because obviously they were naked. So naked. If you want to know what is this, why do you have a why do you have why is yours something, you have something like a tail, and how comes mine, is just a flat and a hole and whatever, so they want to know, in trying to experiment all that is there, because God is the one that has put everything there, and God meant it that in their relationship coming together, then they would discover that, they will see that, and of course they will figure out, what they needed to do with those things, because everything in us, everything about us, everything inside or outside us, God created it for a purpose. He created it for a purpose. So that is why sex also, for a woman to have a vagina, and a woman and a man to have a penis, a woman want to know, why is the vagina there? What is it for? The man would want to know, why is penis there? And of course, the vagina and the penis, now they are two different things, but they are meant to work together to produce, something that is, it cannot, the vagina cannot work by itself, the penis cannot work by itself. The vagina needed the penis, just like a man needed a woman needed a man. So the same thing, you see, but it's so much so special, so different, that, apart from like hand is hand, head is head, mouth is mouth. But look at it in our body. The only thing that is so different completely is, of course, the vagina and the penis. So these two things are meant to work out something. But what are those benefit of the use of that? That is the question. What is the benefit of the use of that in particular? So most of us, will just kind of dwell, on this reason or on this purpose that, of course, if this plus this is equal to probably just a child, that's it. They'll stop at that. They don't go anywhere. As far as they're concerned, that's it. So, and now because that's their mental, kind of understanding as regards to what that is meant for, then if not for that, so we don't need to meet. If not for that, we don't need to meet. We can only meet because we needed this. But remember from the beginning, like I said, the first reason for man and a woman to come together wasn't for that. The first reason is for them to come together. To keep each other company, to keep each other warm. Then how can they keep themselves warm? As a result of keeping warm, it's a chemistry. Woman's body and man's body are totally two different things. See, this is why the issue of psychology comes in here. Mental, science comes in here because, of course, it's chemistry. When these two people are keeping themselves, when they're giving a company of themselves, and of course, there's that reaction, voluntary or involuntary, that happens. That of course, then they found themselves, into that pleasurable moment, because in a way there are chemicals that stimulate this chemical that is, of course, dopamine and serotonin and all of those, chemicals are trying to perform there because they are stimulant. They are stimulant because they are meant to stimulate, some part of our brain, expansions and functioning. So now let's not deviate and go. But the point here, I just try to kind of give you a very good background why we now want to why are we talking about or discussing about the benefit of sex. And I said, some people wouldn't want to talk about it. They feel like, but they would do it. Now, why are you doing it? That's the question we're asking for. What is the importance of it? And therefore, I have this person here who says something that this person says. Let me be more specific. Maruna, her name is. I don't know whether he or she, because he didn't really identify. Now, the person said sex definitely has plenty of physical and psychological benefits to it. And he says, however, the answer to how important it is in a marriage is a bit more complicated than that. Frequent sexual activity has parts such as reduced stress and emotional connection, greater intimacy, and lower divorce rate. Therefore, the difference are in how men and women view sex, but it does play a pivotal role in marriage. See, so now that's why whether we like it or not, but you agree with me, those of you who are married, not those of you who are stealing, or those who are using it for commercial purposes. If you're using, your body for commercial purposes, that is not what it's meant for. Of course, some of the reasons could be there. Some of the benefit could be there, but the issue is you're using it for a wrong purpose, because that's not what it's meant for. It is meant to keep the companionship that is between a man and a woman, solid. That is, I mean, how I can put it, to keep the companionship between man and a woman solid, the sex, itself, to keep it more tighten, more, intimate, so that, I mean, whatever can bring disconnect in the marriage, but sex is more like a unifier. Sex is more like a kind of you know something that will revitalize, something that is kind of it's kind of trying to get ruined, or something that's gonna about to be collapsing. So in the marriage, sex does, it works it out. So the benefit of sex is not just to reproduce. um I want to also look at it from a medical, perspective. Um, Vaughn K. Fulbright, a PhD, a professor, in psychology, says that it helps. That's number one, benefit. It helps keep your immune system harming. It helps keep your immune system harming. Sexual active people, take fewer, yeah, it takes fewer sick days. That's what she said. People who have sex have higher levels of what defends their body against germs, viruses, and other intruders. Researchers um, at Wilkes University in Pennsylvania found that college students who had sex once or twice a week had higher levels of the certain. But listen, this is not what the, here people, those who are not married. Oh, um, because they said if you don't have sex, this disease or that disease. Or listen, that is not when you're not married, you are intact. You are intact. Your immune system, if you are not nutritionally kind of a down or lacking, if you are not in any way having, and if you are not involved in any chemical intake, be it alcoholic, nicotine, caffeine, heroin, and all of those things that bring our body, to a total collapsing, or a total, derailment. If you are not involved in that, and definitely your body should be it should be intact. So don't tell me that because of, yeah, no. So now the benefit of it says here that it helps boost immune, uh, it boosts our immune system. So if it helps boost immune system, so don't tell me that um you are doing that because you're not married. So forget it. It's not for you. And of course, it says now, number two is it's a stress booster. I mean, it's needless to say how amazing it can be to come up or to come home after a long day and release all that pent up stress energy with your part. Now, you come back home, and you will say you're tired, or she will say she is tired. And you just go back, I mean, lay in bed. The next thing when you wake up, that's the way you feel in your body. You feel tired. You came back home tired. So when you sleep, you think, well, the sleeping is no. What sex does is when you are tired and coming back, meeting your wife. So one thing that can now rejuvenate, the body, bring the body alive, is that moment of a chemical secretion, chemical interference, chemical within your body that comes through that moment of sex, because it is exercises. Because we're going to look at it, the benefit of you know sex, because yeah, it says, even says it here, counts as exercise. Sex is a really great form of exercise. You know, sex uses about 5 calories per minute, for 4 more calories than watching TV. It gives you a 1-2 punch. It bumps up your heart and your heart rate, and uses various muscles. So get busy, that, So to tell you that, that's the second one. Of course, not only that, okay, now the third one. Not only that, it helps with your immune. Not only that, I mean, it's also a stress booster, but also it counts as an exercise. So the energy you put in there in sex is kind of equal to some miles away of a jogging or working or running or whatever that you try, because you are doing that to lose something, in your body. But uh, now, of course, it lowers heart attack risk. You know, when either one of those is low, you begin to get lots of problems. Having sex more often may help. During one study, men who had sex at least twice a week were help were half as likely to die of heart disease. Men who had sex rarely, may die, early. So that's one of the. I'm going to just run through them so fast. It lessens pain. So stimulation without orgasm can also do the trick. We found that vaginal stimulation can block chronic back and leg pain. And many women have told us that genital self-stimulation can reduce menstrual cramps, arthritis pain, and in some cases, even headache. Let me tell you, for the headache, I tried this one, it worked for me. There was this time, normally back in Africa, Sundays are my strenuous days. But I'm here Saturday and Sunday are my strenuous days. So that was this moment that I was so tired and headache, and somehow I didn't know I was supposed to kind of just go as usual to sleep. But somehow I just prompted my wife and say, hey, you know what? Let's do it. We did it. And of course, to be honest with you, after that, I had some kind of sound sleep and the headache was gone. I didn't take any Tylenol or any, ibuprofen or whatever you might. No, it went. So I totally I agree with this one. It lessens pain. I agree with this, and may make prostate cancer less likely. While for the men who ejaculate frequently, at least 21 times a month, were less likely to get prostate cancer during one study, which was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. You don't need a partner to reap these benefits. Sexual intercourse. Uh, Listen. The issue is when we talk about some of these diseases, people don't try it. You just gonna try it, but remember I said with your wife. I'm talking about. Whatever I'm doing here is within the confine of marriage. So if you're married and that's not happening, don't think you're benefiting yourself or you're doing yourself good. Especially remember when we talk about vindictiveness in marriage. Some people, because he made me upset, he made me angry. So you're gonna close your door. You don't want your husband, or you want to run away from your wife. You think some of you go out there and just go do it unhealthy, with somewhere. But that's not the right thing. You know, try to solve what is the problem and just get back to it. You're helping yourself, to kind of solve some problem, in the within family, setting. But you don't want to deceive yourself, by running out from her or by running out from him. And of course, sex, bonds couples together. It says the burst of endorphins in the brain after sexual activity is responsible for helping couples bond during sex. It is not only about penetration or or finishing, but the playful exploration that comes before it that will give you the most intimate moment with your partner, both men and women, needs the passion, romance, and chemistry to show each other that their love is alive. And so, when you think because he has done this or she has done this, so I mean, listen, there's bonding. Normally, I want you to just observe it carefully. Any day that, and when you have a problem and somehow you are able to culminate after whatever stress of talking or fighting and words and whatever, and you come together. Now look at the next day. What will happen? Just observe from both of you. You see kind of a different. You're not going to wake up with the same stress that you guys went to bed before that in the sex moment. So but you want to just take it seriously. You don't want to just um yeah. Sex builds better self-esteem. Sex is important to feel great about yourself. Nobody enjoys being in a marriage that lacks physical passion. Everybody wants to be desired. Therefore, passionate and invigorating sex is an indicator that your partner is still into you. Being great in bed and having your spouse come back to you wanting more is a great self esteem booster for both men and women. On the other hand, examining how important sex is in a long term relationship shows that a fizzle out chemistry or being insecure about yourself and performing purely can eventually drive your partner to look for other means outside. So you see, that's why it is good because it's kind of it it helps to increase or kind of help for you to be efficient, in terms of your self-esteem. So it is not just for you to kind of to have children or it is it aids problem solving. As the time progresses in a long relationships, couples disagree more in on things that they did before at the start of the relationship. Conflict due to the differences of opinion become commonplace, and couples tend to drift apart. Sex then become an important activity to make a truce. Sexual intimacy helps couple work through their disagreement more lovingly, and they look beyond their differences to find common ground that works for both instead of engaging in a power struggle. So definitely, it is something that you want to hold back to. So yeah, that's it. I just wanted to kind of intimate you with this to tell you that hey, listen, you know, there's so much to benefit in sex. It's not just doing it to kind of for procreation. No, we know that sex is marriage is for companionship, for sex, for procreation, and of course to avoid those who are religious, to avoid temptation, to avoid fighting because you went and touched someone's wife or someone's daughter, or to avoid it. Paul would say that go get your own, go get your own. And of course, it's one of the serious, topic, that Jesus had to deal with it, you know, because of that, that while hey, Moses said this, Jesus, what do you think about it? And of course, and I know one of the answers, it says from the beginning they were meant to be man and a woman. So, meaning if you want to, forget about what the world today has introduced us, TV, social media, magazines, and all of that. Everything now, sex has become so like gonjo, okrika, or a thrift store where clothes are just exchanged anyhow. So that's what sex has become today. But to be honest with you, that's not what God meant, for us to and it meant it for different purposes. You know, that we can spend the whole, like I told you, someone come up with 23 benefit. So meaning sex is not just, you know, to be just, uh, used for any other things, but remember it's good for many things in our body, for many things, for healing, for enhancement, for rejuvenation, for many things. So it's not just for giving birth, but health wise, psychologically wise, emotionally wise, and what have you. So um, yeah, I just want to kind of leave you with it that way. And of course, you can go ahead, like today, the library is about to leave the four corners of the building. The library is about to go into the cloud. So go there and just Google the Googles. You kind of find from what I'm talking about, what these people are doing. I'm pushing it out there from their researches. So do your research also and check. It's just like sermon. When you listen to a sermon on Sunday, you don't want to just close your Bible and just put it. No, go back and check with the pastor what the pastor was saying. Read over and over and over. So that's the same thing. You know, whatever God has given us, we are steward to anything. So we are steward to our sex life. So let's take care of our sex life very well. Take it so seriously, guard it, and of course manage it, and take good care of it. So thank you so much for your time. Continue to watch. Like there are other programs through Replica Church. Try to explore more, about mission. With my brother Dominic. So also, if you want to know, if you are that type, someone that is so interested in mission, don't try to hook up with our brother Dominic Asede, who does the mission. He's doing a good job, great job. Thank you, brother Dominic, for that. All right, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy your weekend and stay safe. Be healthy, and of course enjoy, and of course try to explore how beneficial is your sex life. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.